I will agree with that.
So
Yes,
keep
that's,
remembering that and your
I,
attitude
I
weeks.
know.
Just do it
And so,
because
yeah, so my win will be I'm still with you, Amanda.
you're right.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
How about
Yeah,
that?
that's funny. How about your eating habits?
Um, Generally can be okay. Yeah.
Good.
There's a special event, you have the treat, but no, if I have good food in the house, I stick to it. So, yeah.
Good. That
And water intake and making tea without sweeteners in it and things like that have helped a lot.
great. Good to hear.
So,
Well, and
yeah.
I think too that you guys, it's funny because every week I take notes after what you guys say and then I go back and look at them. And it is interesting if you guys notice, every one of you has your area that you mainly struggle with, whether it's the meal prepping, it's the exercise, it's the consistency. So
Mhm.
this is good that you keep, that's why I ask you every week, because
Yeah.
eventually it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's the thing I need to focus on. And now next week, hopefully you're going to be back to saying, I got to get my workouts in again. That's just,
Mhm. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah, because we were gone on the weekend, camping and stuff like that. But then I got back and it's like, okay, you need to exercise. How about you do that one that I don't know, number two one? It has enough movement and things that I can do and get your heart rate up that I
good
like
job.
it. So it's like, okay, you do that and it will count.
100%.
So,
That counts. That's a good thing.
mhm.
And I was going to say to Cheryl, because this is funny, I just had this the other day, because you said you did a yoga class, and I had to laugh because I had somebody that she, long story short, told me, yes, I took a yoga class somewhere. So, I'm so happy I worked out. And I was like, well, what did you do? And she said, well, we sat on the floor for most of the time. And I was like, what did you do on the floor? And she's like, well, we kind of talked and we stretched and this is like the whole like, okay, that's not a workout. So I didn't say that to you, Joe. It might have been a workout, but I was like, this is where we have to evaluate though of that, like, all right, what is really, walking might be easy for you. And that's why I say that's not a workout anymore. The workouts, that's why you struggle to do them, is because they're hard. Like they're not easy. I don't think there's any workout on there except maybe the 5-minute chair one that I would say you'd probably be like, I could do this one every day and it's super easy. Like really, they're all challenging in their own ways. So, but that's what we have to keep doing to ourselves to help to get better. Yeah. So glad you're not giving up, Cindy, and you're here. So
Yeah.
Yay for
that's,
Cindy.
that's right. Yay, we're back. All right, I'll let you two fight now, Cheryl or Jeanette. And thanks for being flexible too, Cheryl. Sorry about that last minute change.
Yep, that's okay.
Some days goes like that. So you two want to battle it out? Who wants to go next?
I'll
I
just
guess I,
ditto what oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll just ditto what Cindy said. I have not worked out since last Wednesday. This whole thing of taking care of my friend's 5 dogs on top of my other stuff has just completely thrown my schedule off. So
Oh yeah.
by the time I get done taking care, I have to drive over to her house, take care of her dogs. And by the time I get back, take care of my own dogs and my husband and everything else, my schedule's done. So, and then I have to work. So, yeah, I'm still, I know walking's not a workout, but if you saw my 2 dogs, you might change your mind.
Yeah.
I still got my daily walks in. I've been drinking a lot more water because it's hot for us right now. So
Yeah.
I am drinking more water. I'm managing to. I'm pretty much putting a scoop of hydrate in my full bottle with all of them. So most days I'm getting really close to 80 ounces because it's hot.
Good job.
So,
Hey, that's great. That's good though. And you'll notice you
yep.
don't feel as bad if you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's great. You're being
Yeah.
proactive. So good job. And
Yeah.
how long are you
Yeah.
watching these dogs for? Is that almost done or are you
Tomorrow is she's supposed to be back tomorrow
okay?
night. So I think tomorrow morning is my last morning. The
Perfect.
upside is I'm getting fresh caught halibut out of the deal. So
Hey, that's a
yeah.
good trade.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
But now you can get back in routine again. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Thursday I should be able to get back to the routine. I have not been able to work it. Even though it's only 20 minutes, I still have not been able to work it in. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, you
Yep,
will.
and I can feel it again. So I know I need to.
Yeah, and I think you guys will find too when you're in routine, like honestly, the longer you go, the harder it is to get back into it. That's why it's almost like staying with it as close as you possibly can, because it really does get to be just that's what I find is once people start to drop off, it's really hard to get them back. Like that's just, and I think that's part of the accountability of checking in here, because then you do start to feel like, oh yeah, whereas if you didn't have any, any person or someone you're talking to that doesn't ask you what you're doing for your workouts, it's easy to go a month and you're like, shoot, I haven't done any workouts. So, yeah, so that's good. We're getting back. All right, Cheryl, how about you? How have you been? I think I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. No, I've been doing good. Just really busy.
Yeah.
But I've been staying hydrated, and I did bad about my end of eating at 7,
Yeah.
but I'm better. I started good this week.
Great.
So, and then so hydrating is good. And what else? Well, not so good on workouts last week. And then, of course, I did the yoga yesterday, which I would say was challenging.
Was it okay? Good. All right.
It
That's good
was.
to hear.
It was more like one of your workouts
Okay.
where
All right.
she incorporated the balance
Yeah.
to where you felt like I was going to fall over. And there was standing, and I thought it was a good overall body
Great.
workout.
Good.
Then I wasn't sure what to do today. I did the stretch workout, which was another kind of,
Yeah.
the same thing, but the pleo mat, would that have been more of a workout?
Yes, for sure. That's actually a hard one, but it's a little bit more cardio based for sure, which
Okay.
that'd be a good thing. So I would kind of alternate, yeah, do that one maybe tomorrow. So
Okay.
yeah. Nope, that's good.
All
You're
right.
thinking that way. So yes, we don't want to be sticking with the same, yeah, types of activities, which sometimes if
Right.
you can do a stretch, understandable, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
filtering in some of the others. That's great. And I was just listening to this girl yesterday and she's a yoga instructor and she was saying that
Uh-huh.
she does yoga like 6 days a week. And I was watching some of her videos she's done online and it's interesting because if you watch her, I mean, yeah, she's strong, she's in good shape. But have you ever seen people when they're hyper flexible and their joints are almost beyond double jointed? You guys ever seen that? Like
Mhm.
their knees, their elbows. She is so flexible that actually is very dangerous. And that's why when we only do one style of workout, that's not helpful either. And some people, just because they're
Mhm.
flexible, for example, yoga becomes easy for them because, oh, I can
Right.
stretch and it doesn't hurt. But yes, keep thinking of, no, I need to do all those things that even I don't want to do. And that's usually what you need to be doing. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So that's great though. All right. I wanted to, guys, number one, get you guys thinking back because I think it's always great to be checking in, but to when you guys first started and thinking about some of your goals. And let's start to, as maybe we didn't come off the best week or we're kind of starting a new week, how we can start to get back that fire again and that motivation to say, I got to stick with what I'm learning and I got to keep implementing what we're talking about because that's the only way we're going to keep meeting our goals. It's really easy to sometimes read things and maybe flip through the Kickstart Your Metabolism guide and be like, oh yeah, that's great. But until we actually do it, it's not really any good, right? So let's keep reminding ourselves, this is why I started and I'm going to keep pushing through this. And we still have a few more weeks here yet. So we're not done yet. But I would also be thinking about, a check-in here if you guys haven't done this at all. But if you did weigh yourself at the beginning, check in. If you took some pictures, check in. I know nobody likes to do those things, measurements. If you did anything, great. Even if you didn't, it's still a good time to do those things. So you have them as just kind of a record of where you're at another point in time. Versus, I think sometimes if we always do more at our worst, it's not always the most encouraging place then because you don't even know where to work to either. So it is good to do it multiple times throughout your paths as you keep changing. And unfortunately, we are all aging, guys, in case you didn't know that. Yeah, so that's always just
Mhm.
a sad factor that we can't get away from here. So, but I think this is also the perfect time, guys, as we are starting to head into summer. Like this is like the prime beginning time where I feel like lifestyles change, right? I know for us, we have all of our kids home now. We have, a lot of us your picnics and your other things start to come into place more, where it's easier to let your habits fall off. So I just want to kind of do a recap and reminders for us as we are trying to keep ourselves on track. What are we supposed to be working on, guys? Summer is a great time. I feel like for the most part, when I look at people's activity, you are more active in the summer by far because there's more things to do. I feel like you have yard work, you can walk to do things. It's just different. So it can actually be a great time to keep working in another element of trying to, fire our metabolism and get us going. But just for fun, does anybody know how many calories does it take to burn 1 pound of fat? Any guesses?
No.
A lot more than I'm doing, I know.
This is a really good thing for you guys to remember. Because as we are looking at, we kind of talked about, remember we gave you guys all your BMR, your, numbers of how many calories you're burning while you're resting. But it takes 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of fat. So you need to burn that many calories. It's pretty significant. Yes. And there's good and bad to that, right? But I would say the biggest thing to note, I might mute you here, Cheryl, then you can talk if you need to. But the biggest thing to note is, guys, we have to balance out our activity, which is our output, with our input slightly, right? So if we're just eating so many calories and we're not being active, we're not moving in the right direction. Or if we're super active and we're not eating the right amount of calories, again, we're not creating that balance effect of what we're working on. So just be thinking about this in the back of your mind is, if you are moving less, we want to be not necessarily eating less, but in some ways we do, right? We want the right calories coming in. If we're moving more, sometimes we need to adjust that a little bit, but we do want a little bit of a deficit here and there. And this is where that movement piece is so key. And I will tell you guys, one thing that I've been monitoring a lot lately with clients is their steps. And I know the old rule was 10,000 steps. That's what we should make our goal of. And I have actually found the most success with, if you like trackers and you like to pay attention to your steps, 8,000 steps seems to be a much more realistic goal for people. I find at 8,000, it's a little more doable. And I find it averages out the really bad days. With those days, I find people are at 12,000 and then the next day they're at 4,000 because they work so hard one day. And it's like 8,000 is kind of a happy median. So, as we're trying to burn more calories, take that into account of how can we creating more movement throughout our day to help, which some of us, weight loss is a continuous goal for us, right? We're not going to meet it in one day. We have to keep working at it and we have to keep doing it. So just remind yourself, we got to keep that balance effect. Water, guys, which I'm so proud of you guys. I don't feel like this isn't supposed to be on here again. Sorry. I don't think this is a really big struggling place for you guys, but as we're heading into summer, this is a really good thing to note of. Let's just ask you guys. I'm sure you know quite a few of them, but what do you guys think are the most hydrating fruits and vegetables? A couple of them are listed there. Make it easy on you. Yeah.
Cucumber, celery, watermelon.
Good job. I think the melons are the first ones that comes to people's mind, but this one might surprise you guys. This gives you a little bit more listing here, but broccoli is actually a huge one, which nobody ever thinks of broccoli as a hydrating vegetable. But yep, your lettuces, your celery, you're right on. I said your berries, your melons, pineapple, even all great sources of hydration. So summer's our prime time. And sorry, Jeanette, I don't know about Alaska because I've never been there, but I would think there's more fruits and vegetables available there during this time of year. Maybe.
Yeah, actually, I just saw a post from we live in the agricultural belt, thankfully, of the state. We actually have a lot of farms. And I just saw a couple of greenhouses and farms are having their first farm stands of the season tonight. So I'm going to head out to some of them. We don't have as many of the fruits.
Okay.
We just don't have the right climate. We have a ton of like root vegetables. Tomatoes are hard to grow like you're on your own up here, but yeah, we actually have a lot of produce in the summertime.
Okay, good. That's great. This is a prime time. And you know, it's sad because a lot of it you can't freeze, right? You can't, well, you can freeze watermelon for smoothies and things, but you know, a lot of these things you do have to eat right away, which for some people that deters them from buying them because they don't want them to go bad. But we need to take advantage of these. This is a prime time. And I always, 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 especially something like strawberries. I don't know if you guys ever did this, but there's several ways of washing. We do use the basic H2 on most of our produce, a little bit, and then we soak it in the sink. But strawberry is a great one to do, is about a cup of vinegar to a cup of water. And once you add your fruit in there, add about a teaspoon of baking soda. And it is amazing how it bubbles and out comes, yeah, fun. It bubbles and you will find, like, we've seen bugs, we've seen weird things come out of there, but let it soak for a little while. And then if you lay down paper towel, like somebody else said for the lettuce, put that in your refrigerator. It does make it last longer. So it's always a good, you know, how to store your fruit, make it last longer before it goes bad. And you can look up that online too. There's different recipes for it, but it really does work. We just picked strawberries and did that, and it made them last, you know, almost a week and a half. Whereas before I bought them and just put them in the refrigerator, and the next day they were already looking terrible. I was like, what? So it does help to keep them lasting longer. So think of your fruits and vegetables right now, guys. Hydration. Protein, we cannot emphasize enough, right? We got to keep this as a highlight even during summer. I think grilling becomes a really fun thing to mix things up for this time of year. So you know, if you guys don't have a grill, I would encourage you to maybe think of that might be a good thing to get into, because you can do so many different things with it, even cooking fruits and vegetables differently. You know, grilling fruit is actually amazing. It makes it taste totally different, and it can really make your sweet tooth, like, I find that it really does, like peaches we've done just the other day. I was like, it's so good. Like grilling, you wouldn't think of grilling your fruits, but another way just to add some variety and so you don't get bored. So summertime, I think we think of hot dogs for grilling. There are some healthy things you can do too. Yes, I'm not a fan of hot dogs either.
Mm-mm.
And I wanted to make sure I highlighted this in case you guys did not see this new Life Shake that just came out, this orange cream. This is a great thing to make into popsicles. But the one thing that I wanted to, well, here's a quick little recipe idea, but also one thing I wanted to really highlight about this one, that for some of the population, and I've been mentioning this for a while now, but this is the first Shackley product it's in place with, is they changed the B vitamin sourcing. So now these officially have methylated B vitamins in them. So it's easier digestible for most people. So if you do know somebody that has, you know, I said the most common one is that MTHFR gene that people tend to really have a hard time with breaking down vitamins. This is a great option. So if you do have some sensitive friends, tell them we are switching all of the B vitamins, all of the multivitamins, and all of the shakes are the first starting points for switching over B vitamins. So little educational tip for you guys. So this is something else, guys, that I wanted to make sure I also mentioned, because I think it can get easy to, like, okay, I want to go outside so I don't have time to do my workout. Just as a reminder, you can take your workouts outside. Don't forget, guys. I know your phone isn't always ideal, but you could easily, if it's a workout you're familiar with, set that on a chair. You've done it before, so it's a little bit easier for you to follow along versus a brand new one. But nice day, guys. Take it outside. I mean, this is like, you probably have way more limited weather time than we do, Jeanette, but here it's like to have the perfect weather to get out in is pretty limited for us. So when we do, take advantage of it, guys. We really need to make sure we're doing this and keeping that activity level. You know, again, I'm kind of pushing you guys closer to that 5 days a week, right? They were trying to get that activity up, but ideally we do want to be moving every day, guys. This is just something we need to keep making this a part of our lifestyle, not just, oh, I have to work out today. Make it, you know, fun that I get to work out today. You know, it's a blessing we can do that. So keep reminding yourself of that. And like I said, those days when you can't maybe fit in the workout, just still getting outside even, of course, has its benefits. So do you guys ever work out outside? Anybody ever take their workouts outside, or you do, Cheryl? Great. Oh, I think you're muted, Cheryl. Sorry, I muted you a little bit ago.
Mute. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. I do it outside maybe a third of the time. A
Great.
third. Yeah. And it is nice to do it like in the morning outside.
Yeah, I like it too. You just have to get over if you're by any neighbors because it looks kind of weird, but
Right, right.
but that's okay. Maybe it'll motivate them to exercise.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always my goal. Cindy, you take yours outside ever?
I have in the past, I haven't lately.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not a fan of this kind of weather we're having right now. I'd rather have snow.
Too hot.
Oh.
Yeah, that's funny.
I am hot and just get yuck, and I'd rather have snow than this.
That's fine. That's what I would say is we're all different, right? And we all do better in different
Mhm.
climates. And and that's what I was even saying, I forgot one of our topics, but I was saying how even, some people are just more morning people and some people more night people. These are all things that we kind of have to learn for ourselves. So what works for somebody else might not work for you. But I do say that you still have to get in your head though, Cindy. Yeah, if you like it cooler, you're going to want to work out inside versus outside for sure. So that's all a personal preference. So and I think too, guys, that as you're like, moving into different schedules, though, we do need to make sure this has been a topic we talked about several times now that sleep, we still need to keep a consistent schedule. I know for us, because it's later out longer, it's much harder to get everybody to bed. So our bedtime definitely moves back closer to, 10, 11 versus 9, 10. So we adjust that a little bit, but we still got to make sure that we are getting enough sleep. I have just been finding already, like talking to some people in classes, and they're like, yeah, I can't sleep. I'm getting up early and I'm staying up too late, and it's going to mess with you. And you can still get sick this time of year. So just because, it's summer doesn't mean, there's not still viruses and things going around. So make sure we are adamantly working on keeping our schedule, guys. And that is a big part of our metabolism. So, and I will tell you guys too, I thought this was kind of fun, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen these. Have you guys seen these Aura rings? You guys heard of these before? You have, maybe. They're kind of a newer type tracker. And I've wore, I tried Apple Watches. I always wear Polar for my heart rate when I teach classes and things here, but I do like sometimes though, and I think the ring versus a watch for a lot of people is a nice concept because they don't like to wear something on their wrist, but it tells you specifically in detail your deep sleep and how much was light sleep. And then that correlates, which is really interesting, with your stress levels. And it gives you what's called an NRV percentage goal of what you want to do for your activity based on how your sleep is and how your stress levels are. It's pretty interesting. So I'm kind of just figuring this out, but like you can kind of see here, this was my last night. There's kind of a glare here. Oopsie, I swiped wrong way. Go back. But you can see here, like, for example, it gives you if you've slept well all week, if you got any inactivity alerts, if that isn't beep, there's no vibrations. It's not like the watch is like it vibrates if you sit too long, which is nice for some people, but I find it a distraction. I'm tired of technology. I hate to say it. But for you guys that don't really quite know much about like how well you really sleep, this gives you second by second. So you can actually go in and view it. And you could even share this with your doctor. You can manually just send this over, which is pretty cool. I think if you do have, like, I have a lady with a heart condition, I was like, you should get this because it will show you during your sleep if there is any, patterns that might be in, you're not realizing during the day. So just know of tools too to help you guys with sleeping. I do also say, notice how you feel in the morning. That's always a good indicator. If you feel like you wake up and you are always groggy, this is hilarious. Just 2 days ago, this lady, oh my goodness, actually it was Saturday, and she came to class and she's like, yeah, I'm just so tired. And I was like, well, you seem like you're tired all the time when you come to class. And she's like, yeah, the kids have been keeping me up later. And I was like, well, do you ever take anything to help you sleep? Or she's like, yeah, I take Tylenol PM every night. It's like, okay, well, there's your problem. If
Yuck.
you're groggy in the morning, it's triggering you to still feel like you're sleeping, and that's not a good place. So, and sometimes I think too, you might find like if you go out to eat later at night, it'll make you sometimes feel different in the morning. If you have
Mhm.
caffeine during later in the day, that's a big one, right? But we can't always control that, but I do think it's a good way to help us to know, are there certain things that affect us more than others? Because we're all different. So just kind of be paying attention to your sleep, guys, and don't neglect it. If you guys are saying you're getting less than 6 hours of sleep, this needs to be your highlight for a little while because we need to get it to be 7 to 9. So are you guys doing good with that?
I am.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great, good. Nobody, you guys haven't said anything about sleep lately, maybe because you don't want to tell me, because then I'll be talking about it.
Oh, yeah, sleep is not usually a problem for me.
Great, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
You're one of the few, because that is a huge issue for many people, so.
yeah, no, it's not an issue. If it would be for a certain night, it would be because like, oh, I had caffeine too late or I had too much sugar or something like that. But no,
Yeah,
sleep fine. I go to the bathroom a lot, but the sooner you go to the bathroom, the sooner you can get back to bed and the sooner you can go back to sleep. So
that's a good idea.
it's you just don't fight it. You just go and be done with it and go back to sleep. So
That is funny. You get to that point in your life where you finally just accept it. You're right, for a long time. You're
yeah,
like, I don't have to go. I don't have to go. And you lay there and think
yeah.
about it. And I would stay awake. And I'm like, just get him a go.
Hmm. Yep, yep. Go and be done with it and go back to sleep. So
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, good. All right, guys. Your reminder also, we kind of, talked about our spicy foods. I know some of you guys are adding cayenne pepper in your smoothies, love it. But also be thinking about that, from a metabolism standpoint, these are all great things to be adding in for even cravings. And I think sometimes, spicy foods, with our taste buds, we're all a little bit different, but I oftentimes find that it does make people less likely to overeat. And I almost think it's because it almost, for me, probably because it burns my tongue off and then I can't taste anything because it tastes like that spice. So I don't want to eat anymore. But whatever it is, I think it's a great thing to be adding more into other things you make, which I also thought that this is interesting, guys. I know we hear of taking garlic and, microbial properties, antibacterial properties are great, but I thought that that was interesting that even putting them on your foods can help with kill bacteria. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I never thought about that when you're putting it on there, for example, chicken, if it can help kill some of the bacteria, that's kind of a interesting thing to note. So, chili peppers, my husband puts those on everything. Pizza, doesn't matter what it is, bread, toast, he puts chili peppers. I can't even like sprinkle them on. I'm like, okay, it's too hot.
Mhm.
But I think it's something we can, in small amounts, I'll force myself to at least try it because I know it's good for me. So starting to think of that. And one really good way right now too is making salsa as we're heading into summer. Janae, you just said tomatoes, like great, go get some, making salsas. You can can those, use them later, but you can definitely add some spices into those and sometimes eat a little easier than just sit there and eating a chili pepper. So yes. You guys have any tips for spicy foods? I think you're muted again, Cheryl. Mhm.
I wondered, are there some healthy tortilla chips to go with the salsa?
Great question. Yes, find organic corn chips. That's
Okay.
the best bet. Organic meaning then it's non-GMO. And generally you can find them with just corn, hopefully a healthy oil, like an avocado oil, and sea
Okay.
salt. That's all you should see. The Costco organic tortilla chips actually are not bad. They do have, I believe, sunflower oil used in them, but they are pretty decent. There is only 3 ingredients in those, so that's your
All
cheapest
right.
pound. But
Okay.
good question. Yeah, and the only thing I really say with a lot of your tortilla chips, most of them are terrible. Most of them do have everything added. But do watch your salt. I do think sometimes even the healthier ones, they add more salt to make them taste better. So also
Right.
just kind of pay attention to that. But tortilla chips, I think, are a great alternative. And I think a lot of times, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but we will buy the raw tortillas. You can find them at Meijer's, Costco. There's several brands, but Tortilla Land actually has an organic one, and
Huh.
they're just, yeah, they're raw. They come in 2 packages, and you peel them apart and you put it in the pan with like olive oil and let them boil so they get really bubbly and crispy. Keep cooking it till it's crispy, and you can cut them up and make your own too. They're really good. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
my husband kind of taught me that since he's Mexican. His grandma always
Okay.
made like huevos something with eggs and tortillas, but he always
Oh,
taught me.
yeah.
I was like, oh, we can make that healthier. So this works. So
Good.
you can make your own. That's a great idea too. You can bake them too, the raw tortillas, and you can really make your own tortillas if you have hours and you want to spend the time. Then,
Yeah.
yeah, that's always a good idea too. So, all right, guys, anything to add or anything you're nervous about coming into the next week? What's
No,
what's our next workout? Do you guys know? Let's hear what your next workout is.
Oh, I don't know. I've been crossing them off, but the next one that's in line.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember now either. Oh, kettlebell, I think was my next one.
Kettlebell, great. Jeanette, you know yours?
I don't know.
Oh, you
I have-
guys better look.
I have it up on the wall. I need to look. Yeah.
That's funny. And that's okay. You don't have it memorized, but it's a good idea to even sometimes just, kind of prepping yourself. Although there are people it's better to not know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
dreading.
I never did the cardio kickbox one
Oh,
because
that's
I
fun.
missed that one last week. Is that
It
a
is.
fun one?
It's a fun one. Yeah.
Okay,
I like that one. It's a little more choreographed, like you have to follow along, but it's good,
okay.
good for
Well,
your
maybe I'll do that later today because I did like 2 stretchy ones.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
That's a good idea. Get some cardio in there. That's a great thing. And I was going to tell you guys too, and I was going to have you work on this possibly next week, is if you do have a way to track your heart rate, maybe you could start doing that a little bit this week. But if you guys like on one of your cardio workouts could get an idea of what your highest heart rate is, I would love to know that. I want to make sure you guys are pushing yourself enough that we're getting our ranges to be stretched out. So on your next cardio workout, see if you have a watch or you don't, just pause, check your heart rate. You can do it for, 30 seconds, multiplied by 2, count it for a minute, whatever you want, but just see what your heart rate is and write that number down and let me know what it is, because I would love to know that. So,
Okay, can I ask you how much that Aura ring was?
I earned it, so I got it for free. I would never buy one because I'm too cheap, but
Oh.
I did look them up and they're about $300.
Okay,
Oh, that's
that
what
was that was what a Fitbit, like a watch from Costco was.
Yeah, they are around that. That's a normal price range now. I'm just
Okay.
I always use my Polar watch though, so to justify having a ring, I was like, I don't need 2 things, but I like to try things so I know what to tell people. And I feel like this though is way more practical than a Fitbit. And I do think that for many of us, having more of those metrics of how stress is affecting us, I really love that concept. I do. I think that
Yeah.
that has so much more to tell us than just sleeping and just our heart rate. That's
Right.
so if you guys are looking for something that could be a present in the future, if you need a gift idea, you should check them out.
Okay. All right.
So, all right, guys, we'll keep moving. Next week we'll plan on normal time. And then I'm just
Okay.
giving you guys a heads up. That next week I might have to switch our day. Next week, Thursday, I have a spot on my vocal cord they take off, and I can't talk for 7 days. So I'm trying to figure out exactly when I can talk again, but he wouldn't tell me. So I think he's trying to delay me because he knows as soon as he tells me I can, I won't stop. So I have to so I'll let you guys know, but I'll still plan it. I just might push it back in the week if that's okay with you guys. So,
Yeah.
but I'll be in touch. So, all right. Well, you guys keep sharing your wins. All right. Thanks for being flexible and have a great week.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.